their children are not them, and you are not your child.
Yeah.
In that sense. And it's a thing of like, I mean, when it comes to things like, you know, anxiety or depression and things, those are things that we do need to discuss. And I feel like parents do need to understand that those are things that children do go through.
Welcome, Katleho and Ntokozo. Welcome to this program, and we're looking forward to you educating us as parents on what are the things that we are to look into, observe as we support you, but also perhaps support the schooling environment. Katleho, would you say hello to our audience and tell them who you are, what stage you are at now, what are you doing with your life?
Hello, my name is Katleho, and I am currently in second year studying LLB law.
Hi, my name is Ntokozo, and I'm a grade 11 student.
You've been moving, you know, and there are transitions happening inside of you, but there are also real life transitions. How has it been to move from high school to university? What are the things that you felt like you wish you knew in high school that you take to university? And the same for you, Ntokozo. What are the things that you feel you wish you knew when you were in primary school that you took to high school?
I guess I always thought like being with the fact that like going from high school to varsity is a completely different thing, because I mean you're going from this one part of your world to just this whole other new thing where it's essentially like you have to now do things for yourself, by yourself. There's no one to watch you and say, hi, are you doing your homework? There's no one to say, okay guys, can you please just remember that you need to do this? Like you are literally on your own. And I think especially for me, because of the fact that I was moving to a different province. So it's not just the fact that I'm going in a different phase in education. I'm going to an entirely different place where I'm going to be meeting entirely different people that are also coming from their different parts, be it from around the country, around the world. And so it was very difficult, like in terms of that transition and just actually getting to grips with, okay, this is what university is. Because, I mean, if I'm being honest, high school doesn't prepare you for varsity. I don't think anything can really prepare you for that stage in your life.
Right.
So,
and you didn't know that.
I didn't know. Okay, well, let me say that I did know that it was going to be different, but I think there's a difference between knowing that something is going to be different and then actually getting into that thing and realizing, oh, this is what I now have to deal with.
Is there anything we could do? Is there things that parents can do, school can do?
I mean, I think in terms of like parents, I think just calming your child and telling them like, you know what, it is going to be a difficult time for you. And I think what you need to do is just brace yourself from that. Like, even though it is going to be difficult, it's also going to be a really amazing time for you. It's going to be a time where you get to discover yourself. And I think one of the things that I wish I would have known is that, or like, or would have prepared myself more for, is the fact that not everyone, for instance, is coming from the same place where you're coming from.
Right.
For example, coming from a private school to a university, not everyone in university has the same background as you, has the same knowledge or experience as you, and vice versa. So it's going to be a very different thing in terms of just not only learning from others, but also teaching others.
Yeah. It's also interesting, Katleho, because even parents, some of them haven't gone to university. Some of our current parents haven't been to university. So there's no way they can really prepare you. But we keep that in mind. We hear what you're saying, and for me, it's like that's power to the parents. Hearing that in itself is power to the parents. And Ntokozo, what is it that you wish primary school could have prepared me better?
It's a whole different age, ages, because like now from being a child to being a whole teenager, like, you know, with all the crazy hormones and all that, and also how now everyone in high school, you know, wants to be cool and, you know, wants to fit in and stuff. And primary school, literally, like, everyone was like all together and like
loving.
Like everyone was more united and stuff. And now in high school, there's like cliques and all that stuff, and you have to figure out who you are, and it's really confusing. And I think what I wish I had known is that it's okay to be different. Like it's okay to be confused about who you are and like, trying to figure out who you are. Like I wish and my parents can also like help the children that are moving from primary school to high school, is just keep reminding your child that they're there, and like you can talk to them whenever you need, because in high school there's a lot of stuff to talk about, it's difficult to know if you can talk to your parents about that stuff, because you think, oh no, they don't understand, or so like.
And the interesting thing is that all of you are confused, actually. So it's okay to be confused, to think you're confused alone, but it's important to know that a lot of your high school peers are confused too.
Actually, because also now with the whole thing from also like transitioning from primary school to high school, the fact that like I think as parents they need to understand that just because your child is changing, it doesn't mean that change is bad.
Yeah.
Just because you now start seeing that, okay, well, my child, like, this is definitely not the child that I thought that they were. It doesn't mean that that's a bad
adorable,
thing.
You mean? When we lose your feeling you're being adorable, and we love you, you're innocent, and so on, and something changes.
Yeah, like, I think it's just about a thing of, I think not only realizing that, you know what, my child is going through this change, I just need to let them be in that sense. Like, I know that there's this thing called like a helicopter parent, where it's the sense of like, don't be overbearing on your child, because I think that's, especially as a teenager, that's the number one thing that you don't want your parent doing. You don't want your parent hovering over you and like asking about this and asking about that. Like, just let us be.
Okay. Well, it's a hard thing to do, Katleho, if I may say, as a parent, and probably it's the same for fellow parents, is that either we're overbearing and we think that's being present, or we let go, and when we let go, we overdo it also. So you're saying we are to find balance.
Basically.
Be present, know that there's a phase of confusion in the whole process. I'm trying to find myself, which we've come to understand in the past programs. We've talked about this, that teenagers at that stage, you're coming to know who you are as an individual, and your uniqueness is coming out. So it's wonderful to be hearing it from the horse's mouth, if I may say, to hear it from you guys. What else would you say adults need to know? Is it maybe educators themselves? What is it? Because as much as they teach the subjects, they don't know what is going on inside of you. And we've come to know that a human being is a spirit, soul, and body being. You're not just this physical body that we can tell what to do. There are things going on inside of you. What is it that you would say adults in general need to know?
I guess that number one, we're also human, right? And we make mistakes. And I think just instead of, when your child makes a mistake, instead of like yelling at them, like rather talk them through what they did and maybe help them find out or figure out what they could have done better, but not always saying what they could have done better, because then they feel like they can't do anything.
Right.
But I guess also, I know finding the balance is difficult between whether you're there all the time or like not there all the time. But if your child wants to be alone, please let them be alone.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
But you're saying there is a lot going on inside of me, dear parents. I need space for this to happen, the unfolding to happen. I trust and I hope that we hear that as parents. And And you are inviting us to listen not only to how you're reacting to what you are saying, but to listen to what's going on at an internal level, at a spirit level. I need some space and peace of mind.
Because I think also, like, just to add on to that, I think one of the biggest things that university stresses about is mental health. For example, like something like mental health, like something just by understanding that, you know what, your child is going through something. And just because I think a lot of parents from their aspect, they think, okay, well, my child is not going through as much as what I'm going through. You know, oh no, I already did that. How can you be struggling with that? Things like that. I think it's a thing of parents need to understand that their children are not them, and you are not your child.
Yeah.
In that sense. And it's a thing of like, I mean, when it comes to things like, you know, anxiety or depression and things, those are things that we do need to discuss. And I feel like parents do need to understand that those are things that children do go through. And it's important to, I think, not only like just talk to them, but to also understand, like as Ntokozo said, like if they just need their space, just let them have their space to just deal with that on their own. But also at the same time, you know, I think if your child then does come to you, if you see that, you know what, my child is struggling through something, not just to completely leave them alone. Like I think just also come to them, like just let them know, like, you know what, I'm here for you in this time. I'm present.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. This is so important. I unpacked the reasons some young people drop out of school, and mental health is one of them. Mental issues, whatever the child is going through. But you are saying, when we talk about mental health, let me come back to me as a parent. Depression, we tend to think, you know, you'll get over it. You know, why are you so sad? Everything is fine with you. We tend to take it light. And it's important, and it's important for me, and I'm grateful that you're bringing it up in this parent-to-parent discussion, because there are parents who actually are seeing it in their children and think, what did I do wrong? Because we always just know that as parents, we always come back to, what did I do wrong? When my child is not doing fine, I tend to blame myself. So helping us understand that these are the things you go through. Stress, for instance, at teenage level is real. We didn't know that. We are the ones who are stressed. We worry about you, you know. We worry about your well-being. And then on top of it, we worry about all the issues of livelihood. But we've come to know that you get stressed.
A lot of stress.
Yeah.
Hey,
Talk about that.
I don't think parents understand, like there's so much stress that comes with not only, for instance, as I said, like not only just with education, but just actually being a human being.
Yeah.
Like as you're transforming, or as you're just progressing into who you want to be, or who you're discovering yourself to be, like it's a lot of stress, and it does affect so many other different things. Like that's why I think sometimes like we tend to lash out, or we tend to say, oh no, just leave me alone. Like it's not in the sense of like we are angry at, let's say for instance, the parent, but it's more a thing of just trying to actually, because we're in this transition of trying to discover and understand ourselves, that we're lost. And there's so much stress to that. And I just think that parents tend to ignore that aspect, because it's like, oh, you don't have work, or oh, you don't know what it is like to do this and to do that. So they think that we also can't have stress, or we can't also have depression or things like that.
And also, especially as a grade 11 student, this is a very important year for you. And like, you know, trying to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life. Like, it's a lot. It's very stressful. And also, parents constantly asking, so what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Like, it's a lot. Like, can you please just let me breathe? It's a lot. So, yeah.
Oh my goodness, hearing that, please let me breathe. You know, and I hope we hear that as parents. Psychologists say there's a storm going on inside young people at this phase. And you are at this phase. You are in the phase of thinking. You know, you are in the phase where brain development is happening so strongly. and you are in a phase where you are transitioning, even physically, and there's hormonal changes. I mean, they're settling down in the two of you, but they're there. And you try to figure out, just like you said, what is it to be a human being? So it's good to know that at grade 11, my goodness, we never think that is stressed. You are in the thick of it, Ntokozo. What is going on for you right now when, as parents, we think we can also help you make this decision? Do you feel like you are making a decision on what you're going to do with the rest of your life?
I have an idea, but I'm not very sure because it's difficult to know what you want to do for the rest of your life and you're still trying to figure out who you are and like what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah, you're in the midst of that, figuring out what
it's
you
a huge
like.
responsibility.
Yes. Can I just ask, how did you figure out what you wanted to do?
I think I'm not gonna lie, like I knew since I think about grade 8 that I always wanted to do.
Okay, lucky you.
But I know that there are people, for instance, who literally only discovered what they wanted to do when filling out an application, or when we got to university. I have so many friends that were actually decided that, you know what, I'm going to do a complete change in course.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, like I said, high school can't really teach you things like that. I mean, you don't learn about law in high school. You can't learn about humanities in high school. Like those are things that you discover upon getting to varsity, or if you do like a lot of research on it. So I would say I don't know, like the way that I sort of picked it out, because I mean I did know that I wanted to do law. I just didn't know, okay, do I want to do BA law, do I want to do LLB? And I think then in the end it was more of like, what do I see better working for me in the long run, or where do I see myself being happy? That's where I just ended up making my decision. And I mean, I'm so happy that at least with regards to my mom, like she's never really pressured my brother and I to really do something that she wants us to do. She's always been like, you know what, this is your responsibility. This is your life. This is going to be something that you have to do. And therefore, I can't say that you have to do this because you're not going to be happy doing that. And I think something that people don't realize is that when you then now force your child to now do a certain degree or to do a certain subject, what that does is that it makes them so unhappy. And then when you're unhappy, then it just makes you less motivated to do something. So I'm really happy and thankful that my mom at least allowed me to just have free reign with my subjects in high school and with my course in varsity.
My one last question would be, these open days and career expos, do they help? And this is part of understanding what happens at school. We know that schools organize you these things, but as a parent, what is it that I need to know in terms of that? Has it helped you? Does it help young people?
It really does help, because when you get a brighter view of what there is out there in the world, like we tend to only learn that there's doctor or lawyer, but like with these expos, they kind of open our eyes to see that there's bigger.
There's a variety of things, careers to follow. Were they helpful to you?
I would definitely say that they are helpful, in certain aspects, especially when, for instance, when you don't know what you want to do, you need to also discover then what varsity or what college is going to best provide the skills that I need for this particular thing. So, for example, you can say that one university is great at law, while as another is better at engineering, as an example. And I think those really help, especially because that also helped me with making my final choice when the varsity then invited a group of us to go somewhere, to go and actually to see, okay, well, what does this varsity teach us? What is the aspects that I can learn from this?
Right. That brings me to a conclusion, especially of what I've said to parents about this phase, that when we know that young people are at a thinking phase, these are the things you're thinking about. You are thinking about your life. So therefore, part of my, as a parent, my responsibility would be to take you out and add value to this thinking process that you are in. Probably expose you to some of the careers that exist in the world. In my little and small ways, knowing that schools provide these things, and for schools that do not provide, maybe as parents, we can mobilize for things to change or improve on that aspect. Thank you for really empowering me as a parent, and I trust that you have empowered other parents out there. So see you next time, probably with an engagement with a parent, an engagement with an educator. We are having this discussion parent to parent.
Thank you for watching. Please check the description box below for more information on the program and how to get hold of us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to get updates on our future uploads.